The Blob.
The Blob.
I told you it's really weird talking in English after you've just talked Danish the whole movie.
Well, it's fine.
Well,
I mean,
I've been practicing all day for this.
Yeah.
ooh, I'm gonna watch The Blob and I'm gonna be famous. So, did you like this movie?
yes.
Yeah. Not much of a horror movie.
No,
But,
not.
I mean, it was
not
pretty
its
horrific.
days,
It was pretty horrific, but comedy-wise, it's pure gold. It's pure gold.
Pure
Yeah.
gold comedy movie, but
It's like every horror movie from the 80s.
yeah, well, the thing, I don't know how funny that is, but it's funny to watch. I mean, from an enjoyment
Yeah.
point of view. But
Definitely.
yeah, so this is a remake, and like we mentioned, The Thing, that's also a remake, and that's sort of a theme with these 80s movies. You have a first generation of horror movies like Dracula, Frankenstein, and The Mummy, and so on from Universal, and then you get remakes of those in the 50s with Hammer horror movies, and then you have in the 50s the original new movies like The Fly, The Blob, and The Thing from Another World, and then you get into the 80s, like it's every 30 years there's a remake, I feel.
Yeah.
And now I can't remember when Stephen King's It came out, but I somehow want to think it's 30 years ago now.
Yeah,
I think it's actually in the end.
Isn't it 90?
I think it's.
No, I think it's
like
80s.
1990 or something.
I think it's earlier, isn't
I
it?
think the 80s.
We should know.
I
this.
think it's actually
We
like.
should- we should
70.
know beforehand.
We've been talking about that movie the entire
I actually
Yes.
think it's about 78. I've had this discussion before.
when
I
I
mean-
feel like it's 78.
I mean, the special effects are kind of the same. So
in this movie and it.
yeah, I mean, quality-wise.
Well,
so
well, there's stop motion in this one, and in the original, the last part is a stop motion spider,
oh yes,
which is
I
glorious.
love that spider. It's the only thing I actually can remember from it.
And that's funny because everyone else thinks it's the worst part of the movie.
I love that part.
But yeah, The Blob. I guess we're gonna talk about what it's about, the movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
Would one of you like to do the honors?
A
Because
lot of lovers in the woods just they get eaten by this Morpheus
Blob.
flesh thing.
so what you're saying is you can actually call this movie Cockblock the movie. Well, think about it. It's like the main people is a woman whose boyfriend gets axed off pretty early in the movie. And then the next two people get killed are two lovers, of which one of them is a real sleaze douchebag
Oh yes.
with an awesome trunk.
And then there is, and then there are the other lovers, later on in the movie.
Yeah.
Which one?
The lookalike guy with the slick hair and the
Oh
glasses.
yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it awfully late to be trimming the hedges? Maybe this guy's a peeping Tom or something.
Oh man, he was also a sleaze.
Yeah.
I mean, there are kind of some morals to this story.
Don't be a douche.
Don't be a douche.
Well,
Don't be a douche and don't have sex before marriage.
well, admittedly,
And don't use condoms with ripped.
and
ripped condoms.
don't use ripped condoms. We had a lot of fun with that.
Ribbed.
But no. Okay, so in broad strokes, as you said, this movie is about a biological life form from space that
Yeah.
lands via a satellite.
comet or meteor, I think.
Yeah, there's a meteor on top, but I think
Yeah.
they found out it was a satellite underneath that it crashed
Oh
into
yeah,
something.
that's true. It was
Yeah.
man-made.
So it crashes in the
In a
US.
forest?
Yeah, a forest in the US, and it possesses a homeless man, and from there it just goes on to absorb pretty much the entire town.
Sheriff station.
Help me! Get me Herb! Get Herb Geller!
He went down to the diner.
And there's of course the stupid, predictable plot of the government coming in to use it as a
Kind of.
biochemical warfare.
Yeah.
This will put U.S. defense years ahead of the Russians.
You don't understand. At this rate, by next week there may be no U.S.
Nonsense. All we have to do is contain it properly.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know about you guys, but when that came, I was just like, okay, I guess we're doing this again.
Same old story.
Yeah, and I mean it's like E.T. and okay, it was also an alien movie, but it's also like the government wants to use this, so they come in their big white suits and they close up
And
the
they
eyes.
basically actually used the same scene with the government guys.
And guns before.
And guns.
Yeah.
And
Hunting the one guy riding a bike, or this time a motorbike, but still.
Yeah.
And then him having to make a big ass jump.
I would have given the world to hear the Blob say something like "Blob, go home" or "phone home" or something. but it doesn't talk. It doesn't talk. But
I mean, it has faces though.
it has faces
A
and
lot of faces. I mean, from the people it absorbed.
yeah, it's victims and it growls,
Christ.
so
Yeah.
I guess it kind of speaks, but you
Speaks.
speaks. But yeah, I mean, we also talked about this. The special effects are from the same time period as The Thing, and what's awesome about it is that it's all practical effects. It's hydraulics. It's stop motion effects when it becomes that big tentacle. Thing.
The robot thing with the hand that
Yeah,
from
and robotics. Yeah. And if this was done like 10 years later in 1998, it would have been CGI. Pretty much all of it. And that's a shame because you really get a sense of presence from the monster. You don't in modern movies, I feel.
Yes, it's really part of the background or something.
It's an experience in and of itself, I feel. But I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, old movies, they're so cheesy, and those practical effects make it look so fake. Well, I don't think you need to be convinced that a monster exists. I don't think that's the purpose of a monster movie. But
and then there is the whole use of the green screens showing something that has already been filmed with like all the chaos and the monster.
Yeah.
And then the people running from it actually acting in front of a green screen, showing something that's supposed to be behind them. Of course, it's quite obvious, but it also has a kind of charm.
It does, and I don't think I'm too far-fetched when I say this, but you can really feel it's a product of the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I mean that lovely hairstyle.
But like as Svante said, the use of green screen and blue screen and so on. That
very new.
That liberally. That, and as you said, it was very new at that point, so everyone was just using it left and right because it looked cool. And it is cool, but sometimes you also go like, you know.
Yeah. And then also like all these scenes that don't really matter in regards to the story, taking a bunch of time in the start of the film. Like 10, 15 minutes where you're really asking yourself, why is this important? But then they actually do bring it up somehow in the ending.
Yeah, it's a very slow-paced movie in the start, but it somehow helps build atmosphere because one of the worst crimes, if you ask me, about horror movies is if you have really unlikable characters. You know, what's the point? Why do you want to see them live? But
they all answered questions or things that are not necessary to the plot.
Exactly, but also like these characters in this movie, they're not exactly likable, but at least they're memorable. I mean, that rebellious guy, Brian. I mean, he's not really well written or anything, but he was just so ridiculously stereotyped that it was fun just to follow him.
Flag, congratulations.
For what?
Well, I hear you have a birthday coming up. No more Juvie Hall, right?
Yeah, right.
Now you mess up now, and you're in the majors. I'll see you around, Flag.
I actually like the twist with the priest.
Oh yeah, the ending.
Yes, the ending was really
Oh, spoilers.
Am I allowed to do that?
You're allowed to do that now. I have some spoilers, so it's your fault now.
Yes, it is. So, the priest actually takes this kind of sample or frozen
frozen
blob
part
thing.
of the blob,
Yeah, exactly. And he saves it for later to unleash his doom stay when he predicts it.
The Lord will give me a sign.
God will tell me when.
Yeah, God will tell me when.
I mean, if there's a country where that would be plausible, it would be the US. I mean,
so that was actually good because we actually talked about, in the ending, or before we hear this about with the priest, we talked about, but the priest took some of this blob thing.
Yeah, he does that pretty early in the movie, actually.
Pretty
I
early.
think like halfway,
Yeah.
a bit before halfway.
Yeah, a bit before halfway in the diner scene.
Yeah. About actually the point of no return, I would say.
Yeah.
When the fight really starts to kick in.
Yeah, that's when the movie really picks up.
Yeah.
I can't remember if there's a sequel, but in the original there was a sequel, and I think it was called Son of the Blob or something. I think it had two titles, if I remember. It was Son of the Blob and Beware! The Blob or something. And it had two titles, I remember, and it wasn't really that good. But this movie has actually gotten a cult status like the old one, and the old one from...
Like a bunch of the movies from the 80s, actually.
Well, yeah, pretty much. It was that time when really campy movies came out that didn't really do well, but it gained an audience later.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 58 version stars Steve McQueen, and it's became this really cult movie, and there's actually a festival dedicated to it called Blob Fest.
Really? Where?
Not this one, in Phoenixville. That's where the original was filmed, and it's really amazing to see because you still have the original monster. Why are we talking about this older movie when we've just saw the 88 one?
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, actually the old movie monster from 58, it was made of silicone, and they still have it in a basket or a container.
Yeah.
So they show it off every year, and it's like one of the few examples of a movie monster that still exists. And from 58, that's like a long time ago. I suck at math.
60, 70 years, give or take.
Yes.
Sure.
60 years? Yeah, 60 years. We look so stupid now. Well, none of us are mathematicians. No. But... do you have any further thoughts on the movie?
I would say one shouldn't watch it as a horror movie.
No.
I would say it could have been considered a horror movie back in the 80s, but with
just like some of the old we talked about Nosferatu from 22. I mean, back then it was horror, pure horror, but today.
Yeah, but
because the trends are changing, and we're always getting more accustomed to what horror is.
Becoming desensitized to
yeah,
it somewhat.
Exactly.
It changes that. I mean, if you want to watch real horror, just turn on the news and there's plenty of material. But
perhaps watch it as a comedy actually,
yeah.
or just as a feel good back to the 80s.
Feel
movie.
good.
Yeah, it's an 80s movie. That should be genre.
As an experience, not as a horror movie.
Exactly, but that's actually one point of contention I want to make, and that is that while I do agree that in broad strokes horror does change and we become scared of different things now than back then, I would say that there are few movies that do go against that, like the original Exorcist movie. I mean, that's horrible. I can't watch that alone.
Or The Shining, for that matter.
The Shining,
it scares in a different manner, of course.
It's scary.
It's not a big ass monster. That's more like a psychological.
That's true. It's still a very scary movie. Yeah. But I mean, those are great movies, and there's a reason they're great movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Blob.
I actually think the special effects where it absorbs its victims. I think that is the best part of it. That is scary.
I agree.
I think that's scary.
I agree.
It's gory in a way.
Very much like The Thing, actually.
Yeah. I
mean,
and
the effects are kind of similar, actually.
Exactly. And the other two 80s movies we talked about is David Cronenberg's The Fly with Jeff Goldblum and John Carpenter's The Thing. You can really see the practical effects are amazing.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just that time period, and then we move on to sucky effects these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, you two actually had a different initial onset to this movie than I did, because I had watched it already, of course.
Yeah.
And I had also watched the old one, and for me, an addendum to it being a really awesome movie, or a different movie from the old one, is that in the old one you rarely see the monster, but in this it's always there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, usually horror movies do a lot better. Like Jaws, for example, when they don't show off the monster all the time. And I guess that's actually perhaps what makes this movie not as scary as it could have been.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, sometimes what you don't see is more threatening in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about a lot of greater movies. The Shining, I mean, there's no visible monster. It's just the effects of the place to the person. Whereas this is just monster, 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 and the effects are great, but as an atmospheric piece, it's not really scary.
Yeah.
No. And what is the conclusion to it, or what is the story, or the overall plot, or the conclusion? I think. I mean, sometimes you have like this kind of build up, and then it has a build up, but I'm not sure what the theme is.
Ripped condoms.
Ripped condoms.